Okay, and welcome to this special session, every one of you. And I hope all of you are ready to build the brand, because personal branding, as I always say in my webinar, if you do not build your brand consciously, you'll be misunderstood unconsciously. And I'm sure all of you are here to understand how this personal branding works in the real marketplace. And I have an opportunity to meet this gentleman, our special guest today, that almost 2 years back, I think I started my entrepreneurial journey along with him. He has grown multifold by then. Now, with the 60,000 plus connections only on LinkedIn, he is the master of collaboration. More than 2.5, rather 3 decades of experience behind him. I believe that he carries that humanizing business element in his DNA now. And that's the reason, even though it took me 6 months to bring him on this stage, it is not late. I would say that I have been fortunate enough to be associated with him for last 1.5 years or so. We have done a lot of collaboration talks as well on various forums, and we share a very good camaraderie like brother. So let me welcome our esteemed guest, Joy Abdullah. Joy, welcome to this masterclass. Thank you very much for coming on this masterclass.
Raakesh bhai, thank you. It's a pleasure. Are you able to hear me loud and clear?
100%. 100%.
Honored to be on your platform. It's a privilege. And I do hope whatever little I'll share today will be of value to the community here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that the brand that you have built over a period of that 3 years or so, I believe that is now paying off in multiple dividends. That's what I understand. And just to let you guys know that Joy has been speaking to international communities. He's been working for almost 5 to 6 different countries in making marketing a strategic differentiator. And if you feel that you should be connected to the Joy, please feel free to connect him on all these handles. He is available and very, very active on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. He's a master. And obviously the Facebook, he's little bit slow, but I'm sure he'll catch up.
Thank you for those accolades. I still consider myself to be a learner. I've stayed in that learner mode. A lot of people ask me this, Joy, 3 years, and you still say you're a learner. I think I'll stay in that mode for quite some time to come. That's the first thing in growing. Second is, I'm a little worried about getting on Facebook for very different reasons. It's to do with whatever's happened on their background with data privacy and everything. But anybody who wants to connect, primary medium, LinkedIn, backed up with Twitter, as you know, Raakesh bhai. And then I'm growing YouTube and IG at the moment. The focus is on a different category. That's one. The second is anybody here wanting or doing any work, wanting any information from markets like Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, UK. These are where I am currently entrenched, not entrenched, but I'm currently doing pretty decently in terms of the collaborative work. And there's some offshoots happening in the Middle East, which Raakesh bhai, with your guidance and blessings, if we do it together, chances are 4 months, 5 months from now from it. So that's me. I don't want to take up any more airtime. Let's get down to the basics.
All right. So while we are going to talk about how to build a personal brand in the current market, let me also share with you that Joy has prepared this special session, and he has put in some special slides for us, for each one of us to understand the personal brand in the perspective with the framework that he follows in his own life as well. So I'm just trying to share my screen, Joy, and I hand it over to you just to start off with this quote.
Thank you. Yeah, let's just start there. Let's just stop there. So good afternoon to everybody who's watching it from India. Good evening to anybody who's further away in timelines. I have a couple of people who requested. I'm not sure if I can see them in the chat from down under. You see, Why has personal branding? It's a buzzword, and I personally would stay away from buzzword, but our naming, how we are perceived, the image that another person, another organization has of us has become a critical factor in every sphere of life. So let's just take 4 quadrants to start with. Individually, some of us might be corporate executives, and having a brand becomes very important if we are 12, 15 years into a career, and we are into one particular industry. We've been working for 3 to 4 years, and things are, well, you basically want to change. Sometimes you get a little tired, you want to change. Maybe you want to skill yourself up and you're not getting that opportunity. Maybe the promotion has gone by. Whatever be the reason, that career professional in today's world, especially this last bit of the COVID world, because the world has changed since we've gone through the pandemic in the last 1 year. The world has changed. What are you going to do? How are you going to get a job? So if you go down that old route of I need a CV and I'm going to look up my people and I'm going to write into them, or use the old boys network, you're actually living certain things to chance. You're not controlling, you're not driving the activity to its closure in a binary way, which means if you drive and you control, you're either going to learn. By the way, I don't have the word fail in my vocabulary because I've failed so many times in my life that I've lost it. I've kept learning from it. Or you're going to land up with that objective, in this case, getting the job. If you've got a personal brand working for you, chances are you'll attract the job, you'll attract the call. That's on one category. Let's say you're a professional and you're a doctor, you're a chartered accountant, you're an infrastructure civil engineer, you're probably running a small to medium business of your technical expertise. Again, how do people know about your business? They know about your business through who you are. So classic example, Raakesh bhai here is talking about growthpreneurship, entrepreneurship, wealth creation. How do people know about Raakesh's business? Is through Raakesh Rana, the brand. Second category. The third category, you might be like me, a senior executive. You might be currently a director on the board of directors. You might be a chief operating officer. You've done 25, 30, 35 years of service. What happens at the end of that service? If you're happy to just be on a couple of boards and do that, okay. But for example, I believe I've got a lot of gas in my tank and I still want to fly my kite and I still want to impact and I've got a personal mission. The personal brand comes into play. The importance of the personal brand is summed up in this quote. It's my favorite quote from Tom Peters, and it's all about taking charge of our life. You private limited, or in this case, as he says, me incorporated. Incorporated is private limited back in US. So the only person, it's not your father, it's not your mother, it's not your husband, it's not your wife, it's not your brother, it's not your sister, not your bua, not your pupa, nobody but you. You are the chief executive officer of the brand called you. Now you can put your name, Joy Abdullah, Raakesh Rana. You can put your name, you are the CEO. And the only job that you have that is 24/7, it does not follow a 9 to 5 schedule, is you're the chief marketing officer of that brand, you private limited. Now, so I'm sure all of you have been exposed to a lot in terms of branding. There are lots of perceptions, lots of theories. I'm just going to distill it down to 4 simple, common sense, basic sort of things, which is this. And before I explain each of these pillars of the kilt, please in your mind have a picture that you're building a house. The first thing, and you can pop it in the chat, I'll wait for 30 seconds. What do you do the first thing when you're building a house? Those of you who are in engineering would have a immediate answer to this, but it's a trivia GK question. What do you do when you are building a house? Just pop it in. What is the first thing that you need to do?
Planning, idea, foundation, location. That's what is coming out.
Planning. Brilliant.
Site
Brilliant.
inspection. Okay.
Thank
Some
you.
are really civil engineers as well.
Yeah. Planning and foundation. These are
Yes.
the two key words you need to take. So you've got to remember, you're the chief marketing officer of brand U. The first thing you got to do is you got to find, you got to plan. What is it that you want to do and why? The why becomes very important. The why, from a jargon perspective, is purpose. Apna zindagi ka maksad kya hai? What is our objective? Now, a lot of you can and probably will put this down in the chat that it's a metaphysical question, it's a multi-million dollar question. To be very honest, it's not. The why or your purpose will change as you go through your biological age, with which, God willing, there's wisdom flowing in. So the purpose you have when you're a teenager, picture, हमारे ज़माने में picture देखते थे, छोकरीबाजी करते थे. That's my generation gone now. But when you become a young adult, when you pass out of university, when you get married, when you become a parent, the why changes. It's not cast in stone. It's a dynamic reason. It becomes your reason to communicate your personal brand. And that's the first pillar of the kilt. If people don't know you, you're nobody. How, if they don't know you, they haven't heard of you. How do they get to know you? You need to be communicating. What are you interested in? Now, everybody is interested in cricket. Everybody. I've lived and worked across India for 28 years. So cricket is practically the, lifeblood in a human Indian's body. But what about cricket that specially enthuses you? Are you into statistics? Are you into history? Are you into technique? Bowling, batting, fielding? Are you into fitness technique? There has to be an interest which has to tie back to your purpose. Now, when you take that interest out, and if you're taking notes, you can take a note on this. Take your interest out and put it somewhere. The only thing I'm going to ask you is, your interest does not change like you change clothes. It does not change daily. Your interest has to be something that you are passionate about consistently. Next, हम सब सपने देखते हैं. At least I still dream. And I'm pretty ahead of Raakesh in terms of age, but I still dream. I still have big dreams and I still strive. Share your dream. There is no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. Whatever you want to dream, whatever you want to achieve, share your dream. When you share about your interest and you share what drives you, what's your dream, there's a little bit of the you, the real you, dil se, to use Hindi, that is coming out, being communicated. And you're communicating it with one objective. You're communicating it to say, who are you? That's how people get to know you. Now, there is a scientific formula or a process or a ratio, sorry, not a process, a ratio to use. How many times do you communicate knowing you versus something else? And we can cover that down the line. But the first leg, communicate to people what your interests are, what your purpose is, and what your dream is. These are three angles or three hooks to build your story. Aap kaun ho? Communicate that. 1. 2, take your interest and then expand. Your interest should not just be, as I was using the example of cricket, a particular area of cricket. Can you connect that to work? So for example, if you are interested in fitness and cricket is something that you're passionate about, you talk about the fitness part as part of your interest and connect it to something that you want to do. Maybe you want to open up a series of fitness programs or a fitness gym or something. Make it that work area of yours. You could be the site engineer somewhere professionally. So what do you do is, if you are in a physical job like engineering out on the field, connect fitness Communicate in your content how fitness helps you to put in 8-10 hours on the ground. Or if you're a desk-bound executive like me, bring fitness from a mental health perspective. But the second leg is all about how are you expanding your interest so that it adds value to somebody else? Because your objective is you want to connect with people who have similar interests. They will connect with you because of that interest. Then when they know who you are, what's your interest, a conversation will start forming. The third leg, when you have that conversation forming, it'll go one of two ways. If you give them attention, if you give them respect, you'll earn attention, you'll earn respect. So if you engage with comments, you get it back. Remember, on an online world, it doesn't happen instantly like a WhatsApp. It happens 24 hours later, sometimes 48 hours later. You've got to keep that in mind, that this is a fluid world. Time is a construct in our head. But in the digital side, on the online world, there is nothing called time. Somebody can revert back to you even 4 or 5 days later. You've got to then respond accordingly. It's your choice. 4 days later, he has responded. Do you want to respond back 4 days later? My 2 cents advice would be, don't respond immediately, because you would like to be responded immediately. That person would see the eagerness from your side, and it helps create that engagement. The next thing that happens with your content coming out from your interest and who you are, and when you engage in your comments, is that you create likability. You are influencing for people to like you. If you put in the time, if you respect, it's very hard to be rude to a person who's giving you respect. Really hard. You can stay quiet and walk away. That's your choice. But you'll find it very hard when somebody is respecting you to not respect back. That's our mechanism. We are built that way. We are wired that way. The last leg, very simply put, you've heard this saying, to earn trust, you must give trust. So give your trust. First, empower yourself to be trusting that my story can make a difference. And I'm going to digress here for 2 minutes. For those of you who want, please go to my LinkedIn profile. Look in my featured section and you'll find a small little note feature called How I Found Myself, which highlights a chapter in a book called Becoming You. It took a particular lady out of Bangalore and about nearly a year of cajoling me earlier last year to contribute my story of transitioning from a corporate executive of 3 decades to becoming an entrepreneur, if I'll use that word, but I still consider myself a businessman who's learning his way around doing business, trying to create wealth for the client and for self. And this wealth is financial and individual value benefit. That story might just resonate with some of y'all because it shares the pains I went through, the fears I had of communicating my failure. Oh yeah, I failed when I first started. I failed very, very miserably. I had no idea, coming with 3 decades of marketing experience, putting it all into play in my first venture. I went belly up before 10 months and I was belly up. Absolutely. So don't think we know it all. We don't. But here's what happened. Here's the dot connecting to what Raakesh used when he introduced me. I didn't actually go to 60,000 overnight. If you're seeing the 60,000, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. Please understand, there's a massive portion below. 3 years, 4 years back, 3.5 years back, I was only at about 8,500, 8,400 followers with just about a little less than a couple of thousand connections on LinkedIn. I did all these steps that I'm now sharing with you. I shared my story. I shared my fear. I shared my interest. I shared my expertise. I connected the dot between my interest, my expertise, and my social. I want to add value to people to feel each one of you are actually superstars with a superpower that is yours and yours alone. Raakesh's superpower and my superpower are totally unique. But when we combine, we are a force that cannot be stopped. That's the beauty of collaboration. When you share that, you create trust. And now, at whichever level that you are working, at whatever age you are, and I am 100% sure that of all the 50 odd people, 55 people here, each one of you have insights. Each one of you have advice. Each one of you have tips. Put it out there. Put it out there like a small quote. Put it out there as a post. Put it out there as a simple mobile phone video. Forget about fancy editing and subtitling. Just dil khol ke bolo. Without thinking what are people going to think. You're saying it because your objective is to add value. What that does is, over time, it won't happen in 7 days. It won't happen in 1 day. It won't happen earliest before 3 to 4 months. Mathematically, the projects that I've worked on, when I've developed employee brands using this process, it has taken about 3.5 to 4 months, between 100 to 120 days, 24/7, for a personal brand to start getting the first touches of that word authority. People actually start engaging more and more, and that authority comes when they start saying, what's your perspective on this? A. B, how would you do it? C, can I jump onto a call? Can we talk? I'd like to pick your brains. These are the 3 key messages that come into you, and you know your authority is building. That's when you get. This is my framework. I'm going to leave it in a nutshell over here, because the whole session that I run, Raakesh is aware, takes about 90 minutes as a start to get an overview, and then it has 3 more sessions to drill down and do your thing. But the next slide will give you an overview, and I'm just going to take questions from there. In a nutshell, your personal brand is communication. That's the key thing that you need, communication. And communication involves your interest, your work, consistency. And by the way, under interest is who you are. What's your dream? What do you like doing? What's your passion? Then comes, what are you working? What's your day job? And do you want to actually do something on the side? Start talking about that now. Be consistent in the content that you put out. And by consistent, I mean at least 5 times a week. 5 times a week. And there's a ratio, as I said, we can discuss that later. And please don't start posting anything if you're not going to engage with the comments. Having said this, let me give you the caveat. I'm sure all of us here have at least 1 to 2 social media, if not more. When you go away from this session, please take 30 minutes if you need, or 10 minutes, 1 hour, whatever is comfortable, over a cup of tea or coffee, and identify which is your primary medium. It can be Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Reddit, Medium, whatever it is. Identify a medium, number 1. Number 2, come back to Raakesh, come back to me, no problem. Take some help, take some guidance. Structure your personal brand from what you want it to be perceived as. Those of you who will go and check out my LinkedIn, you'll see I have 2 very key words there. Businesses I work with, I work to help them create impact and influence. That's what a personal brand actually delivers. That's my 2 KPIs. I have numerical numbers to deliver that. How are you going to deliver impact? What are you going to do? And how is it going to influence? Influence is not a dirty word. Influencer is a good word. If you don't have a positive influence, your personal brand is not building a legacy. To use a famous quote, when you are not there or when you're out of the room, what they talk about you is the perception. That is actually the essence of your brand, your personal brand. You can replace the word personal with business, service, whatever you want to call it. That's all over here. Ready to take questions, and let's have a discussion. And I'm, happy to explain it forward.
So Joy, you want to pick up the last slide as well, or you want to pick it up later?
Sorry, I honestly lost. Is there one more slide after this? Put it up.
Yeah. There is one.
Put it up. Oh yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Raakesh. I'm going to leave this framework with you guys. It's not a copyright or anything, but for those of you who want to go on it on your own, and you can do this, Trust me, I did it. You can do this on your own. If you've read something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a very common fundamental principle of psychology of human needs and wants, taught in all MBA courses for the last 50 years, you'll find this framework has been created based on that. At the base, your foundation, which is where I started with, why people need to know you, comes meaning. And meaning about what do you stand for? What are your values? So here is where you might need a little discussion with Raakesh separately to understand what are my values, what are my beliefs, because usually we do have an overlap and a misunderstanding about beliefs and values. Forget your values. The values will drive you to understand what do you really stand for, what beliefs really matter to you. And these are something that operates in our subconscious, not in our day-to-day automatic cognitive functions. That's your meaning. That impacts your story, who you are, what is your dream, why do you believe in achieving that dream, what are you passionate about. It comes from this value and this belief. Okay, so this is how the right and left of the slide adds up. Then you come to the second base, which is makeup. Makeup is you are sharing how your interests can help somebody else, because you're trying to attract people of the same interest group. When you give that interest with insights, tips, your learnings, or what you are learning, you could be an MBA student doing a project and talking about it, but there's an angle where you say, I'm really passionate. Best way I can give you an example is you can hop over to my YouTube channel and you'll get a couple of interviews there where I share. I've always been passionate about marketing since I graduated out of B school. I got married to it. I fell in love with it. I'm still in love with it, and I'll take it to my grave. It's that passion, that interest has today brought me to my work. My business is that makeup. My interest is adding value to people through their personal brand, by which humanizes their business. And the last one, the tip of the triangle, is your message, which is your voice. My voice, Raakesh's voice, to give the best example, are two different voices. Our messages are also two distinct messages. But when we collaborate to bring the message together. It's not that Raakesh can't do personal branding. He's done it. He's done a fantastic job of it for his own business, his own self. When we collaborate, I run the personal branding, he runs the growth hacking and the wealth creation and the entrepreneurship. I'm not good at that. I take lessons from him and apply in my own business. But this is the framework. This is what will affect the content you will create to communicate your personal brand. Last word, you'll never be stuck for content when you speak from your heart, from within. You'll never run out of content. Every interaction is a piece of content. You'd be surprised, but yesterday around this time is when Raakesh bhai told me, Joy, we are on. So we are reconfirming. I said, yeah, we are on, but I see your post. I haven't done anything. He said, don't worry. You do it after you'll have the recording and everything. And I said, I love Raakesh. I'm not going to go without doing it. My norm is I always do it. I just took the same graphic that he used, print screen, wrote 2 lines and wrote it out. You see, why am I doing this? I'm creating trust. I want Raakesh's network, all of you beautiful people who are here, 60 of you who are here, 58, leaving Raakesh and me out, respecting me, giving me this time to talk. I wanted to support him in it. That's how you never run out of content. So if you look around you, what you're talking to your siblings, your family, your friends is your content. Now, how you say that content creates your digital footprint. So 3 tips: don't do. Don't at all do. Never post, never use your social media when you're really, really pissed, you're really angry. Don't go anywhere near your social media apps. Go and bang your head on the wall and bleed. Don't go. Whatever you say on social media stays on. There's thousands of examples of this. 2, do not communicate negativity. Communicating an opinion is very good, but come very professionally from in that opinion by adding a perspective that helps but does not belittle something or somebody. And the last point, if you can't say anything, don't post. Don't post. Go to the next day. That's it. Questions?
Yeah, we have quite a few questions, Joy. So what
Lovely.
we'll do is we'll pick up the questions in a way which can help both of us to answer those things.
Yeah.
Quite a few are very tricky one, and would love to actually do that. Raghavendra has asked, playing to win. And let me share the screen as well so that you can read in case. Yeah. So Raghavendra is saying, playing to win and playing for galleries when it comes to personal branding, which one should come first? Often we see decision makers take the short-term orientations, glittering things, rather than the sustainable solutions. So which one you should advise?
Step number one of personal branding, always communicate from your why, from your purpose. If you're communicating from your purpose, you're not playing to win and you're not playing to the gallery. You're simply playing to give value to your audience. You're talking to an audience. Anybody who's playing to win is actually playing by somebody else's rule, because that statement itself means you are competing. That means you're following somebody else's standard. You set the standard. Be a personal brand that leads by adding value. So when you come from your purpose, your why, you're actually playing to create value, to connect interest and create trust. So you're not playing to win, you're playing to create value. Two, when you create value, it's like the moth is always attracted to the fire, or the bee always gets the honey in the beehive. People will come to you for that. I try and stay away from this word, but I have to use it in this case, for that authenticity. Now, shiny bling objects, short-term goals, as you rightly said, Ravindran, they're short-term. They're going to just make you jump up for a bit and then fizzle out, and that drop is very bad. A personal brand, when it drops, the rebranding becomes equally hard. We all know this from life lessons. When we fall, it takes a lot of courage to get our own self-confidence back up. The same thing happens with a personal brand. When you kill a personal brand or you sabotage it, bringing that personal brand up, and we've seen this in celebrities all the time. So play to give value. Don't play to win, which is a third-party external standard. Don't play to the galleries. Until unless, of course, you're in politics or something else, and I don't get into that area. Play to give value.
Okay. So let me pick up another one from Raghavendra, and he says that there are a lot of frequent changes at a leadership level. How do we build our own personal brand with each leader? So Raghavendra, I'll just correct it. When we talk about the personal branding, it is your own brand. And when we talk about the a brand with the leader, we are talking about the rapport per se, correct? Your visibility towards that person, that is what we are talking. Both are different things. Okay. While your
Absolutely different.
personal brand is a sustainable, regardless of what leadership changes happen within the organization, outside the organization, doesn't matter. But as per your leadership changes, you may have to develop the trust equation with that particular leader, and your personal brand will come handy for that. That is what you need to understand. Yeah. You can correct me, Joy, if I.
Spot on, Raakesh. You said it. You have to separate. What happens is the personal brand is you, that helps you communicate your self, your real self, to your leader. The leader will keep changing, but your personal brand message does not change. So somebody who resonates with that will give you the trust, and then you take what Raakesh said. You start building that rapport, which is a separate exercise in leadership development and leadership subordinate relationship building, if I may say. The common parameter here is communication between the personal brand that you're building and the rapport that you will build with the leader. Communication skill becomes very, very important.
Okay. And we'll pick up the question from Sameep. He says, how do I assess where do I stand in terms of the brand and the stage at which I can feel that I have achieved something?
Let me answer the second part. The day you feel you have achieved everything, that day you're gone. I started this whole session by saying I'm still a learner, and chances are I'll remain a learner. Guys, honestly, ladies and gentlemen who on this group, please never step away from a learner's mindset. It's the worst thing you can do to yourself, because that's your ego speaking, not your heart, not your subconscious mind, which is where we are actually driven from. That's the second part. How can you evaluate your brand? Raakesh answered this when he was introducing me. Set some parameters that you want. Followers can be one thing of it, but you can set it to say, if I'm a job seeker and I want to get recruiters calling me, after 6 months or after 5 months, I should be getting 2 calls a week. That's your KPI. You either will hit it or you won't hit it. If you don't hit it, you course correct, you take advice. If you hit it, you know you've achieved. Simple as that. When we work on personal branding for employees, that's the kind of matrix we work on. We have followers, we have engagement count, we have engagement going into conversion from a marketing area. So it's very easy to put that. And Samir, please reach out. I'm happy to discuss it separately with you in a 30-minute session. You can reach out and connect with me on it.
Absolutely. And Samip, I'll just put it one more thing in this, and a very, very simple way to every one of you who are in the room today, right? There's no full stop in personal branding. There's only
Correct.
comma. Okay. So don't even try to put the full stop to your personal branding, because you have never been done. That's the one thing. Second, in terms of the personal branding, if you are thinking about from the LinkedIn perspective, we have a benchmark in terms of the SSI, which you can actually check for yourself. Where do you stand relatively with respect to the industry and the network? And it will give you the lot of understanding and visibility in terms of where do you stand. Again, it is a relative index, so don't go by the complete truth of it, because how much get engagement you get on a personal level is something which you can only measure. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
Now, another question, Funny Krishna has asked a question from the career perspective. I'll just put in from a branding perspective, Joy, that how can one probably try and build a brand which are in the diverse area, especially in the career perspective. So what he's essentially mean is that if my interest level is varied, how do I actually bring that onto the branding perspective?
Prioritize. So I'll share an example. One of the companies I work with has a gentleman whose interest is in dancing, but he's a engineer by profession, right? On the system side. And a very senior gentleman. He's very close to he's about 51, 52 right now, based in Bombay, Raakesh, by the way. And when we were doing the project, when I was working with him, he said, Joy, how do I communicate myself? I want to do this. I love doing this. And you'd be surprised when he started to communicate his passion about dancing, right? And he's a systems engineer. The attraction, the engagement that he got, including potential clients who know him saying, yeah, I didn't know that you go salsa dancing. Where do you go over there? I also do this. You see what happened suddenly? There was a personal connection. So we all have lots of interests, but there will always be 1 or 2 or 3 that will be at the top of the list. Take those. Don't go with everything, but just focus on what are your top 2 or top 3 and talk about that. That's it. That's all.
Absolutely. I think, Monica, we have answered this question. If you have just focus on Joy's part, how to market a brand on social media. That's what Joy covered in the first slide itself.
Focus on A media, yeah.
Yeah. Find out your relative media, which is relevant to your brand, and then focus on that by putting on the content, engaging people, and definitely connecting to the right people. Okay. Kiran is asking, I am of the opinion my actions should speak louder than the words. Is this the right perspective, and how to balance this practically and get ahead?
Sorry, Raakesh, can you highlight that one? I can't see it on the screen.
It's a Kiran says that my action should speak louder than my words. Is this the right perspective to have in today's era?
Yes. The short answer is yes. It's not what you say, it's how you say. The how you say involves words, communication, as well as behavior. Behavior is very, very critical. In a world that has become online like we are right now, why am I making it a point that you at least see half of my body? Because and why are you seeing my hands? I am a person that gestures to emphasize my points, but it gives you an impression and communicates something. Hopefully, God willing, I hope it's communicating. I'm very passionate about my subject. But the behavior, that's part of our behavior, is 80% of the unsaid communication that we pick up. Raakesh, you will have this data better than I do. Words stick 7% of the time.
True.
80% of the time, it's the body language or the unsaid cues that our brain decodes. So, behavior, always. Please, this will be a cliche. You've always got to be conscious of your presence. And by presence means now, here and now, present. We are so distracted. We are so focused on everything else in our mind that when I am with Raakesh, but my brain is running three other things at the same time. It's taken me years to practice that focus for that time being. If I'm with him for 30 minutes, I'm just with him. There's nothing else in my head. It's just what he's saying. How can I help in that? What can I do? Presence brings the behavior. What that behavior communicates is you respect me. And when you communicate that without saying, Raakesh, I respect you, you actually, inside what happens is we feel like, wow, I'm being appreciated. I'm being given time. I'm being respected. Boom, you reciprocate. So action is much bigger than the words. Sometimes silence speaks a lot. So please always watch your behavior, be present, be in the now, and then communicate. Just to add on to that, less is more. If you can say a sentence in 6 words in place of 8 words, do that. If you don't have anything to say, don't say. Silence acts beautifully. Don't be worried about silence. Silence is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but only in conversation, not in social media, by the way.
Yeah, social media means you don't post. Yeah, you don't post, but when you communicate and you say thank you for sharing, that is not nice. What am I thanking you for sharing? I mean, if there's something really nice, let me write what I'm thanking you for. That's how you do it. You're right, Raakesh. Agreed.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll pick up Arun question, but Arun, we have already answered this. How can I start building a good personal branding in the new area? Again, you have to go from the foundation, as Joy has explained the KILT framework as well as the last framework of the triangle, which he has shown. Again, you can watch the replay and understand how you can actually first create your foundation. That is your interest level, your dreams, and then put it into the words by communicating that again and again consistently. That is how you build your own personal brand. Okay. Now, Saurabh is asking, how does personal brand evolve with the professional tenure?
Depending, as I said, so you could be a university graduate starting a job and you communicate on your personal brand of your interest and your work. And then 20 years later, you become the vice president or the chief marketing officer or the chief operating officer, and you're still communicating what you do and your interest, but 20 years has passed. And that group, that community of yours that has followed you, three things will happen. That community will be people who are your friends, who are your industry network buddies, and who are just simply followers who like what you share, who learns from you. There will be three distinct groups that will emerge. And as you go through your career span professionally, even when you leave corporate and you open up, start a side hustle, or you open up and go into entrepreneurship, you will find your brand growing accordingly. A lot of people, is just imagine like a bus journey. You go from place A to place B, people get up, people get off, so you start from the bus stand. There are some people, then as the bus stops, some get on, other destinations they get off, and finally you arrive at your destination, and some of you get off but others carry on. Your personal brand is exactly like that. You'll have a core community which will be with you through the years. And I can't answer the end game because I haven't finished with mine. I don't know what's the end of the personal brand end game, to be very honest.
Okay, so Samip is asking a simple question, that is, I think
Yeah.
I have a good name within my organization, but outside I don't have my brand. Can I leverage that in the outside world? 100% Samip, this is the time for you to actually leverage that brand in the market. Gaurav is asking, how I have a dream to become an entrepreneur and do have the answer of why, but can you please let me know the stepping stone to how in this new venture? Okay, so the
Yours,
how
Rakesh.
answer is a very long answer, Gaurav, right? And if you want to probably start off with that, I would suggest you attend one of the sessions of building the business around the USP that will help you around that. Okay. Noor is asking, should all the content be focused around what you want to be in future, or will the variety be good? If so, what is the ratio that we need to maintain?
Okay. So remember, know, interest, like, trust. Those are the 4 pillars. Under know, you have who you are, your why, and your key interests. That's one post in 5 days. The other 4 should revolve around what you're doing at work and how it connects to your interest if it connects. If it doesn't, it should focus on your interest area itself. The third post, or the third, this is really granular, should be about something that your in your professional, in your work, in your career area, what is happening to that industry, what are you adding to your work. So if I'm working as a brand manager of a particular product or service, what am I doing? What's my 9 to 5? I could be in a strategy meeting, I could be in a content creation meeting, I could be in a graphic meeting. Share that with just a picture of Zoom, people on Zoom discussing it. You're sharing your part of your daily life and writing a little bit, which makes people think you're human. Guys, come back to one thing, huh? The whole purpose of know, interest, like, and trust is to say, I'm not a bot, I'm human, I'm joy. When you interact with me, you're going to go away feeling good or bad. There's no gray. Sorry, I'm a binary dude, so I only have 0 and 1, though there are 50 shades of gray in between. But you're projecting your brand so that people are attracted, and you're using your purpose, your interest, your work to communicate that story. So it's 1:4, 1:5. One stays on with your purpose as your personal post. The other 4 should ideally be revolving around the work that you do, the voluntary work that you do, attending Raakesh's sessions, giving yourself education, or helping somebody. It could be just that in your apartment building, somebody needed to get their grocery picked up. It's been delivered downstairs, and they needed some help, and you helped it. So you just write about that social help. It's just that's it. Maybe 10 other people are thinking about writing, but nobody's written it. You're the first one. And the idea is the more you do common everyday points, the more it connects with people. People start realizing you're human, you're down to earth, you're approachable, and that's what matters. Again, the objective of why you're building a personal brand, that comes at the start. Are you looking for a job? Are you looking to grow career? Are you setting up your business? You want to get more inquiries in your business? For example, why do I communicate my personal brand? Because I want business owners to connect with me so that I can help them grow their marketing differently over the years. I mean, do it one time and then sustainably the marketing continues. That's why I do my personal brand. Then I have my why, and I have my interest, and I have my work content. That's it. Hope that helps, Noor.
Absolutely. There is another question from Shishir is saying, how can we choose the right keywords for making the personal brand?
The simplest way would be spend a little bit of money, get a good content writer. But no, that's the shortcut. That's the shortcut. I'd always say do it yourself because you get better in your own thinking. You can Google this up. It's called active verbs, active words, and passive words. That's one way. So I'll give you an example. I try and avoid the use of the word but. So let me tell you how our brain works. So I'm talking to Raakesh, and I say, Raakesh, I just love this idea. And Rakesh immediately gets a lift because he's being appreciated. And then I follow it with saying, but do you think the moment that word but comes in, Rakesh deflates. You see, psychologically, what happens is he says, wow, Joy just appreciated me, but he's not 100% with me. There's that reticence. It's an emotional connect fighting with our logic. So if you replace the word but with the word yet, Rakesh, I just love this idea. We're doing this together. Yet, do you think we could do it this way? Rakesh says, hey, he loved the idea. I'm so glad I have Joy on board. Maybe he's got a point. Joy, let me think about that. See, that's the use of active words. And in English, English is our second language. We learn it differently. But you've got to learn this through communication skills using the right words. So a shortcut is look up communication skills on Google, look up active words, active verbs, use it in your writing. B, just take one of the simple online courses. I think LinkedIn has a pretty decent communication skills, content creation, content writing skills uh, program. You could try either of those out, whichever is easier on the pocket.
Absolutely. I think the book you referred is Becoming You, right, Joy?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's on Amazon India also.
Yeah.
So it's on my LinkedIn. Anybody wants to take a look at the story, it's just to give them heart that don't be afraid. I'm going to leave it with this, that be proud of your names. I use this word very clearly, proud. Your names were given by your parents with a lot of love from the moment you were born. And that is what differentiates you with 7.5 billion of us across the world. I have never removed my name Joy from my identity. Can I give joy? I try. But joy was given to me by my father and my mother, and God bless them, and I treasure it. That's my identity. In the same way, personal brand starts there. You can start. Raakesh is building a brand with his name with a double A in Raakesh, which differentiates him. His parents have differentiated him since he was born, along with growthpreneurship and raw wisdom. You can build sub brands with purpose, but value. Be proud of yourself, of your names, and who you are. Next, be proud of what you bring to the table. Each one of us has a value in this world. We provide it, communicate it, and you'll get your tribe.
Okay, that's an interesting question from Gaurav. Is it the personal branding misunderstood in our country?
Yes, if you mean in India, straight away, I'm not even batting an eyelid. I've already said this. I've lived and worked for 28 years. Calcutta, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai. In my time, it was still Madras. In India, personal branding is very misunderstood, misperceived, and mislabeled. It is actually associated with celebrity status and celebrity naming, whereas personal branding is anything but that. It's just the flip side. And the second point, personal branding and influencer marketing also has misconceptions globally. Personal branding is your own identity, which communicates to people before they meet you, before they interact you, what do you stand for. That is the summary of personal branding. It's your calling card before they interact with you.
Absolutely. And I think I'll just resonate with the last message that you gave, Joy. And I always say it, and I have given them a small ebook as well, that be the hero of your own life. Don't
Absolutely
be
beautiful.
a side hero. That is what my key or core message is around this. And you touch upon the very core aspect of this community, that is taking charge of their career. And
Yes,
when they have to take charge of their career, building their personal brand in today's era is a must do thing, and it
absolutely.
is not an optional anymore. I mean,
Absolutely.
and that misconception which Gaurav is representing, I think, yes, that misconception we have been fed since the
Yes,
childhood,
yes,
right?
yes.
We have been conditioned to actually look at the branding as only the celebrities, people, and so on. And that is the reason we are probably very hesitant in sharing our own stuff in the market.
Can I add a word here, Raakesh? I love this. Okay. Please, that book, that title, that word, take it to heart. उसको टैबलेट बना के पानी में मिला के पी लो, पी के सो जाओ. I mean, have it in your blood. Be a hero. You're the hero of your life. If you're not the hero, there is no cavalry. कोई दूसरा आके कुछ नहीं करेगा. Whether it's your career, it's your zindagi, own your own life. Take responsibility. Own your actions. Yeah, you'll stumble, you'll fall, you'll fail. Own it. That is the biggest maturity and the biggest value of your own brand. When you're your own brand, the hero of your story, just watch the magic flow. When you own your own story, you're the hero. You're writing about yourself. That's personal branding. That's exactly what you do out on social media. Conditioning. You've got to consciously put that aside. Raakesh is absolutely right. We have grown through societal and family and everything all around, where probably from 3-4 years of age, we've all been told, aisa nahi, waisa karo, aisa nahi, waisa karo. Please put that aside. Get the right help. The help that you feel connects. Intuitively, you feel, yeah, acha hai. I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take it. Take it and try it your way. If it's 3 steps, if it's 7 steps, take those steps. See what the result is. Make your own decision. Own it. You may not like it. Pain. Without the pain, you're not going to get gain. You're not going to get change. One of the things Raakesh says, which I love, you can stick on working as an employee, because we are all conditioned to padhai karo, university degree lo, naukri dhundo, and then spend 30 years in naukri. I've done it. I spent 33 years in naukri. It didn't leave me with anything. I'm rebuilding. That's why I said I'm a learner, and I'm leaving that lesson with y'all. You can be an employment, but get out of that mindset that the salary is what you're working for. That's golden handcuff. Am I right, Raakesh? You used golden handcuffs in the comms? Yeah, am I right? It's golden handcuff, because you are actually shackling yourself. You're shackling the power that is here. And the power that is here is actually you, the hero. You're the hero. You, your brand, bring it out. That's all. Believe in yourself. You can do it.
My favorite quote around is that quit 9 to 5 mindset before you quit your 9 to 5.
Spot on.
Because that's when you'll be able to quit the 9 to 5. Otherwise, you'll never be able to.
Spot on.
All right. Excellent. Guys, we have a single poll which I want to understand from each one of you. Joy and I were discussing how can we add more value to you guys. And that's where we were bringing up this question. I want each and every one of you to look at the poll and let me know which topic will actually help you get the best result in your career or your life, whichever way you want to probably look at it. Can I understand from you which area will give you the best result in your career and your life, so that we can put in more efforts towards that and bring you more and more wisdom towards that topic, because this is something which we are pretty much concerned about in the community as you grow, and as I'm growing this community, I understand that I'm more concerned about the result that you guys get, right? And we had a pretty good session yesterday, almost for 2 hours or so, and I'm sure each one of you have got that particular thing. This is a very interesting state as we see, and I will share with you all, guys. Can everyone please take the poll in front of you? I have seen half of people have taken. Guys, all of you, please take the poll in front of you right now. All of them are important. Which one is going to give you breakthrough? That is what is the question. So, Joy, I think one of the myths that we have in the corporate, sir, I'm not good in communication. Okay. And when they talk about the communications, most of the time they are more or less referring to not only English per se, but they are referring to the articulation of that English in a different word, right?
Yes.
So what is your take in terms of that how people should be improving the communication skill, which I was expecting that this should come out, and this is expectedly coming on the same lines, that communication skill is something which everyone is looking at as a base. Now, if I look at just the communication skill in Google, I get some millions of results immediately.
Yeah.
But unfortunate part is that there is not a systematic way of probably teaching that communication, which can be helpful not only in career but in life as well. So what is your take around that?
Let me break it down into 3 areas. I think one is critical thinking at whatever level, whether you're coming in from a university level, as in you just finished university, you're joining as a junior executive, all the way up to the CEO. First is critical thinking. And what I mean by critical thinking is not the B school classic critical thinking, but the ability to focus, okay, and understand what is the issue. So I'll give you 2 English words, issue and problem. And Raakesh, you've been on the HR side and you know this, and you've also been on the operation side. A lot of us misuse these 2 words, problem and issue, interchangeably. So, and that's part of communication. So first thing is that have that critical thinking ability to decipher what is it that I need to do, which means what do I focus on. Second, sorry, I just saw the poll pop up, 32% mindset, 32% communication skills. Good to know my gray cells are still working. That's the second point. The second point is your mindset. See, if you're always coming from a very worked up, agitated kind of a mind, and if we look at our lives, we are so, for whatever the stimuli, our brain is so fragmented in terms of concentration. Remember, just now I was mentioning, try and be presence, focus on that thing. That's where I'm coming from. The second point is your mindset. Now, mindset is again overused, but what I mean is when you're doing something, forget about this multitasking. Forget about it. It's like work-life balance. It does not exist. It's a myth. You've got to focus your mind to the task at hand. कोई अगर आपको कहे कि भैया क्या यार एक काम कर रहे हो 1 minute में, do that one work. The answer is do the work and show it to them that you get it first time right. Not repeat that 3 times over 3 days. Get it right the first time. So for those who are in planning, who are like the surgeon, if you take surgery, when he's doing a surgery, he can't repeat, right? He does the surgery once. That's the kind of focus and skill that you need. The second, it comes from mindset. So which means you need to build your mind to be strong, to be resilient, to know how to help you focus. And this mindset bit, I would say, comes with a little bit of coaching. I don't want to get into this jargon area, but it comes a little bit with neuro-linguistic programming if it's possible, but it comes to understanding how do you strengthen your mind. And you can strengthen your mind and create positive thinking by your behavior, which is your third, or habit, adat. We always say this, right? A habit is very difficult to change. But in the first place, why have you got that habit? Because it's a comfort area of yours. So if you take the pain of changing that third area, you start with making a change your habit. The habit helps because you're doing your mindset at the same time. It helps you bring a mindset tuned, focused, positive, to be present. You arrive at that communication skill bit, which is to the topic, crisp, to the point, out. That's how I would put it. Do people have patience in corporate? The answer is no. The reason is, please remember, your boss, who's just your boss, he's not a leader. Leaders are different. Might not have, he's got his or she's got her stresses. And each one of us are running a different hamster wheel, but we all have our own stresses which are creating this. Boss ko jaldi chahiye because the boss's boss wants it jaldi. Everybody's got a malik somewhere along. So the only way you can stop this is when you become conscious of yourself, you own yourself, you focus, you take the tips with Raakesh that is providing in your mindset, your communication, and grow yourself. Then the action shows results. It's not just one part of the pizza. You're cooking the whole pizza together, but you take slice by slice when you're eating it.
Yeah. And in my understanding and where I coach the entrepreneurs, I always say this that your communication is all about the clarity, your competence, and your consistency. That's the only thing which will require actually.
2 and 3,
Yes.
competency and clarity won't come if your mindset isn't
100%.
focused.
100%. That is where it comes true. So wonderful session, Joy, and I just wanted to say thank you and really, really grateful for you being a part of this session. Okay, how many of you want to share a wonderful feedback to Joy? Let me understand. Open your Telegram group right now and let Joy see what you are writing about this session. Let me understand.
No, I just put it on the chat to say thank you, everyone. I mean, it's been an absolute amazement.
Yeah, but let's people actually have that appreciation for you, Joy. And I've already shared you the LinkedIn profile of Joy. Please do connect with him.
Please.
And do try to reach out to him for any questions that you may have. He's pretty much reachable, and as his name suggests, he always ensures that you get the joy.
Guys, just one request: when you reach out on LinkedIn, please drop me a message saying that from Raakesh's group, so that I know. The inbox gets a bit crowded, so I'm going to prioritize and I'll connect with you. Happy to help you all on this end once you've seen it. Wow, thank you so much.
So how many people, if you are given an opportunity to learn from Joy on the communication, would you learn it? Guys, feedback. You need to learn how to give the feedback. The feedback has to be given in what you learned. So give what you learned, the 3 lessons, so that you understand.
I think there's a lot coming up on the chat. I can see the chat's like running away, literally.
Yes, but every one of you are now the senior professionals. So I'm just trying to inculcate that habit which you said, right? When you are giving the feedback, it cannot be good, excellent, fantastic. That's your feeling.
That's a feeling.
When you are giving the feedback, you are giving that, yes, I learned this and thank you so much for this. That is what the feedback is. So write down those 3 learnings that you have got from this session, guys. All right.
Thank you, Kiran. I just saw your note on the Telegram group. Thank you. Blessed. Honored.
Okay, and let me know in the chat box if you are given a choice to learn from Joy on the communication skill and branding, who would want to learn from him? We can bring him on the special request, obviously in the special session, which may not be like this. It is a guest session. He has just obliged us with his presence today, but I'm sure he can do a special session for us to learn more around it.
I'm happy to, Raakesh. For you, where you're concerned, you know, all you have to do is just pick up the phone and tell me, and we'll log the date and come on.
Yes.
That's
so let me understand from the people who are going to be the recipients. Who would like to learn from Joy and I on this communication and personal branding?
Yeah, I like that one. Thank you for adding I. I was wondering all this while. So Raakesh wants me to do this all alone with, 50 of them together online.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So just hang on for a few days or so. We are planning to have some sessions planned out for it. Okay, and we'll announce that accordingly, either in the form of a digital or in the form of live sessions where we can have more interactions as well. But we'll announce and we'll put together something which can help every one of you. And I want more and more of your friends coming in this community as well, because we have more than 1100 plus people. And as I can see, the 5% present over here doesn't serve the purpose, to be very honest. All right. Wonderful, guys. Thank you very much for your valuable time, and thank you very much, Joy, for your presence, and really, really grateful for having these sessions for our community. And we look forward to see you again and again in this community to share your wisdom and knowledge.
Pleasure. Raakesh, you know, bye. Whenever you call, I'm here. So might be a week or two here and there, but it's been a delight. Thank you, everyone. Raakesh bhai, my sincere thanks for the opportunity. It's been fantastic meeting your community also. And anybody who'd like anything, questions, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Twitter, IG, and or reach out to Raakesh. He'll send it through to me, and I'm happy to respond back. Just give me a day or so in between to respond to messages. Happy to do it. Thank you so much. Take care, Raakesh. Have a good evening. Okay.
Thank you very much.